When You Wish Upon a Star, Chapter 6. Still don't believe in fairies? Said the Violet Fairy as she and Kiara emerged in the middle of Pariva's market square. Kiara drew a startled breath. She whirled, taking in the familiar sight of Mangia's Road. There was Mama and Papa's bakery in the northeast corner, where she was due in minutes to deliver an account of their finances and spend the rest of the day helping Papa make sandwiches. And there was Mr. and Mrs. Vacky's chocolate shop, the local fishmonger, and the market where clusters of tomatoes hung on bright green vines across a rusty yellow wagon. A pocket of children ran around the fountain, likely playing hooky from class. How? Magic, Kiara, the Violet Fairy replied. Obviously. Come, there's times more precious than magic, and you're standing about as if you inhaled a whiff of stardust. The fairy chuckled. You did, in actuality, and I'm pleased you aren't heaving. That's an important requirement for a fairy to be. Kiara hardly heard a word. She was in a daze, unable to believe that the woman before her, the Violet Fairy, she called herself, was actually, well, a fairy. But how else could she explain everything? Only minutes before, a beam of purple light had sieved under the door into her room. Kiara hadn't thought anything of it until the white light swelled, radiating from floor to ceiling. Then poof! A woman about Kiara's height materialized, with cropped brown hair and curled below her ears, full ruddy cheeks, and the chestnut eyes that shone when she spoke. She called herself a Violet Fairy, and she'd waved her stick in the air with a flourish. And here they were, in the middle of Pariva's main square. Kiara fumbled at the thin shawl over her shoulders. She wasn't sure if she left it at home, same with the wicker basket under her arm, the very one she carried when she went out on her errands. At her side, the Violet Fairy chuckled at her astonishment. None of the folks bustling by seemed to notice them suddenly appear. Normally, the noisier townspeople would have stopped to ask whether the Violet Fairy was visiting from Elf or Nerio, yet no one came for a second glance. That surprised Kia more than anything. They only see you, said the fairy, as if reading her mind. So try not to move your lips too much when you're talking, or else they'll think you're mumbling to yourself. Kiara stared as the townspeople cheerfully waved at her. It is magic, she breathed. You really are a fairy. Not so loudly. Mischief tinkled in the fairy's eyes. She leaned closer. Your neighbors are what made you believe, not the traveling light or the magic wand. Everyone knows everyone's business in Pariva, said Kiara sensibly. Well, no one knows mine. The fairy guided her down the cobblestone path toward the pasture. I prefer it that way. The fewer distractions, the better. The Violet Fairy gestured casually at the statue of 3 fairies in the center of the square. Simona, one of Ilaria's friends, was there asking the statue when the next wishing star would appear in the sky. You see, I'd like us to have a conversation without being interrupted. Fair enough. Kiara inhaled, finally getting her bearings. She had so many questions. Why me, of everyone here? Are you my fairy godmother? Do you have a wish you wanted to make? The question made Kiara's gaze flit to the ground. No, she replied. Not for myself, anyway. Then I am not your fairy godmother. A chuckle. I will say it's unusual for someone who doesn't believe in magic to get an invitation, but I'd argue that not believing isn't necessarily a bad thing. You're a practical girl, and you like to get things done yourself. We could use more of that. An invitation? Kiara echoed, remembering what she had called her earlier. A fairy to be. From the fairies? Yes, indeed. The fairy waved her hand dismissively. I'm assuming you've changed your mind about us existing. It's fortunate I have observed before what a bright girl you are. Otherwise I'd be having doubts right now. The guy was honest but good-natured, and Kiara smiled. We don't see much magic in Pariva. So I've learned, huffed the fairy. They'd arrived at Pine Grove, a pasture behind Pariva's local school. It was a quieter part of town, at least until the school bell rang and the children ran toward the field to play. Kiara had spent many afternoons sitting on the grass, naming the cows and sheep that grazed there. Beyond was a grove of pine trees, where she occasionally spotted Geppetto gathering wood for his projects. The fairy guided Kiara under one of the trees and patted her arm. I suppose I should properly introduce myself. I am Agata the Violet, a member of Asperia's oldest school of fairies. We listen to wishes made in good faith, and we guard the love, hope, and wonder in the hearts of all. You may simply call me Agata. Agata, Kiara dipped, making a curtsy out of habit. I'm pleased to make your acquaintance. This isn't the first time we've met. Agata winked, and then next she spoke. Her voice became resonant, echoing as if bounced off 100 walls. Do you remember me, Kiara Belmaggio? Kiara gasped. It was you! You spoke to me when I was rescuing Geppetto. I was going to save the lad myself, replied Agata, until you came out of nowhere and you needed no magic to answer his calls. The fairy's voice turned somber. You were close to perishing yourself, Kiara. You knew that before you leapt, but still you went on. I couldn't let him die. You'd be surprised how many would, said Agata. But I knew you wouldn't give up. I've been watching you since long before you saved Geppetto. Watching me? You have a talent for seeing into people's hearts, the fairy explained, and for helping them. I'd hardly call it a talent, Kiara said. I've lived in Pariva all my life. Almost everyone here is my friend, and I care about them. So you do, Agata agreed. But you went beyond what most people who care would do. When Mrs. Cousin's husband died, you visited her every day for 3 months so she wouldn't be lonely. You played cards with her and helped her plant a tulip garden. You even found her a stray kitten to keep her company. That wasn't much. When Mr. Vacky's wife came down with a fever, you made broth for her until she got better. You fed the pigeons by the fountain with leftover bread from your parents' bakery, the ducks by Grove Pond, too. And you tutored little Clarence and Lila with their arithmetic until they got high marks in school. Those are hardly good deeds, said Kiara. I did them because it's your calling, Agata finished for her. You got a feeling in your gut when you see someone who's sad or lonely or in trouble. You listen to that feeling and it shows you how much to heal their hurt, how to bring joy. Kiara stared. No one knew about that, not even Ilaria. They had stopped walking and Kiara found she couldn't say anything. How? Because I feel it too, replied Agata. Everywhere I go, and before I was a fairy too. Let me guess. You can sense other people's happiness and unhappiness? Kiara nodded slowly. Then she remembered and added, On the day I saved Geppetto, I thought I sensed something. What did you feel? Kiara frowned, remembering. The water. It felt cold. Inside it, I felt wrath and danger. Evil. That was Monstro, confirmed Agata. His strength is overwhelming, even for a seasoned fairy much as myself. Yet even while near him, you could still sense Geppetto's hope. That's how you found him, and saved him. Kiara's knees went weak, and she could hardly breathe. Yes, I suppose it is. You have great empathy, Kiara, and a powerful conscience. It guides you, doesn't it? Was Agata talking about the hum in her heart? It's nothing special. Even so, not everyone is so in tune with theirs that they listen to it. You are, and that's what led me to find you, said Agata. I don't even believe in magic. I mean, I didn't. Until now. Listen, the wisest fairy turns to magic only as a last resort. That is why I have reason to believe, Kiara Belmaggio, that you will make an excellent fairy. A laugh bubbled in her throat. Me, a fairy? I don't think so. Like you said, fairies are wise, and I barely know what I'm doing with my life. I don't know how to grant wishes. Experience and age have no correlation to the strength of one's heart, said Agata. Your whole life you've shown courage, compassion, and kindness. There are plenty of others who are kinder than I am, and braver too. Perhaps that is true, said Agata, looking pleased that Kiara was uncertain. But fate did not lead me to their doors. They led me to yours. The Violet Fairy paused. I've already proposed your name to my council, and we unanimously agreed to invite you to trial with us. Should you complete your training, we would grant you wings and a wand. should you wish it. Kiara was stunned. You are serious. I don't lie, Kiara Belmaggio, said Agata. What would I even do? Asked Kia. What do fairies do? A good question. Most know us for granting wishes, but that is only a fraction of our responsibilities. Agata inhaled. The world can be a dark place, dear. Our greatest role is to guide the light wherever we can. It is no trivial task, I assure you, and few are suited for it. But I hope you'll try. Kiara said nothing. Usually she depended on her heart to tell her what to do, on the tinge in her gut to guide her. But here in this moment that could change her entire life, any guidance was absent. I don't know what to say, she admitted. That's not the answer I'm supposed to give, is it? To her surprise, Agata chuckled. If you had jumped at the chance to wield a magic wand and fly on fairy wings, then you wouldn't have been the young woman I thought you were. Then her expression changed. Her brown eyes filled, but Kiara couldn't tell what had stirred their sadness. Life as a fairy is more than the ability to conjure magic or wear sparkles and fly on beams of starlight. Far more. It's the chance to make hearts full and make the world a slightly better place. If fairies are able to do such wonderful things and bring joy, observed Kiara quietly, then why do you sound upset? Our job is wonderful, Agata admitted, but it is not without its costs, sacrifices. I'll explain more at the end of your training, should you come trial with us. The older woman could sense Kiara's skepticism. Think on it, please, Kiara. I'll visit you again in a week for your answer. Until then, I'll ask that you speak of my invitation to no one. Not your parents, your brother, even your sister. There is wisdom in caution, and humans have fickle memories, especially when it comes to fairies. We'll tell them together about the trial if you should choose to do it, but I wouldn't want a stray comment had to influence your decision. Will you promise? Kiara hesitated. In her mind, she was certain she already knew her answer. Grand as Agata's invitation sounded, she couldn't leave her family. She waited for that warm hum in her chest to affirm her decision, but it was absent. She was on her own. Think on it, repeated Agata, this time with a small smile, as if she knew. Kiara supposed a week of concentration wouldn't hurt. All right, I promise. Good. Next time, then. Agata vanished in a fan of light, leaving Kia alone once more, her mind wheeling back and forth between disbelief and excitement. Kia raced home, forgetting for the first time in her life that she was expected at the bakery for work. Ilaria pounced on her as she returned home. Where have you been? Kia had to bite to her cheeks so she wouldn't tell Illy everything. No one would appreciate Agata's visit more than her sister, who loved fairy tales and believed in a fairy godmothers and wishes that could come true. But Kia had made a promise. What's wrong, Kia? Cat got your tongue? No, Kiara fumbled. She wasn't good at lying, so she settled for what was technically the truth. I forgot the ledger for Mama and Papa. That's unlike you. Did something happen? Nothing important. Kia hastily slipped past her sister and headed up to her room. Any other day she would have heard the disappointment in Illy's voice and tried to set things right. But not today. And so, Ilaria stood alone on the steps, gripping the railings as her chest tightened. It was to be the first crack in her heart.